And someone behind the voicing is the sign language interpreter, Godfrey. Of course, we have different sign languages in the room, but I want to make sure that we are all inclusive. We can at least go away with some signs, which I can probably, when you are congratulating or clapping for someone, can you copy? In sign language, how we clap, that's how we clap, and applause. Then you can say, welcome. That's a sign of welcome. Welcome. So, welcome to our session, Haptics, Avatars, Artificial Intelligence Communication for Deaf and Hard of Hearing. This is very, very good. A very good session to all of us. Because now, in the era of artificial intelligence, it's everywhere. But the biggest question, can AI help in solving the communication challenges that deaf people face worldwide? There are so many questions coming up. And there's a lot of answers coming up. In this session, I have very, very big people. We have chief executive officers, and I think it's one of the best panels in the Zero conference so far, having CEOs and young, energetic persons whom we are waiting to hear. We say we are looking forward to hearing from the horse's mouth. And who is who seated in front of you? Some of you have ever heard about Kalimani app. And they may wonder, what is Kalimani app? This is an innovation and a learning platform. It's advancing accessibility for deaf and hard of hearing. Thank you to Jenga Hub. And we have our own executive director of Jenga Hub, who is going to share with us as to how the app works. And who is that person? Nancy Abraham. Please join me to welcome Nancy Abraham. You can first wait, have a seat. The second, we the people like me in particular, I'm a father of 4 children, and when my children cry at night, how would I be able to realize that they are crying? Because in the morning, I have to wake up to find out, thinking that my children are okay. Even the drivers, if you're a deaf person, can you take this siren or some hooting without knowing? So how can that problem be solved? And one of the panelists came up with an innovation, how to solve such a problem, to have an alert in real time. And who this person is Drisha Musham. Join me to welcome her. Just as I've said, AI and technology has enhanced learning. And also it has helped different communities that had been left behind to be brought forward. Like deaf people. But the question is, how has this technologies been designed to support those people? They're looking at those who can hear only. How about those, the people, also to use? And we have one of the young lady who founded Zero Bionic, which translates STEM content into sign language. But how does it work? I can't talk on behalf of the horse's mouth. The horse's mouth is in the room. Also join me to welcome Nora. Nora is with us here. And you also may be wondering, there's a new face who has just joined us here. Yes. We have our chief technologists, and we are in the world of technologies and been working for over 10 years, working with different industries, from fintech to social sciences. And now he founded an app called Signers. We are looking forward to find out how can it support deaf people to access information. Is it a different app from the ordinary apps we are familiar with? So we have a group of distinguished panelists. And after listening from them, from their presentation, you'll be given time to also ask them questions. Because looking at me as a person, a sign language user, how can we keep the quality of signs? There have been so many questions, but it's very important to ascertain. Using technology, how can we maintain the quality of sign language and also reserve the deaf culture? So thank you very much with that. May I invite our first speaker, Nancy. Take on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Ambrose, for that kind introduction. So in Tanzania, close to 500,000 children are deaf. And in our neighboring Kenya, statistics are showing that close to 10% of children with disabilities have hearing impairments. In both of our countries, fewer than 10% of those children are accessing meaningful learning. This exclusion is most acute in foundation learning, where instruction relies heavily on oral explanations. So without sign-supported teaching, deaf learners miss the instruction itself, especially in mainstream schools. But it's not because they lack the ability to learn. So as a result, many are failing their assessments, they're falling progressively behind, and eventually they drop out. Those who remain are facing compounded exclusion, and they have limited academic progression and lifelong barriers to opportunities. But both in Tanzania and in our region, our governments have strong policy commitments to inclusion. And it signals there's a need for a proven solution that is low cost and ministries can realistically adopt. And that gap between policy and practice is exactly what Kalimani stands for. Our innovation is a teacher-led model for inclusive literacy and numeracy, where the Kalimani app acts as an enabling tool. While most inclusive education solutions either rely on scarce specialists and expensive training, our model is taking a different approach. We're providing sign-supported, live visual explanations of literacy and numeracy concepts in sign language. We're aligning with the national curricula, making learning immediately accessible to deaf learners. But then, the technology itself does not change the classrooms. The teachers do. We're training and coaching mainstream teachers to embed simple sign language routines into their lessons. For instance, they can explain concepts visually, how they can model problem solving, and how they can check understanding using these accessible methods. So we're empowering teachers to embed inclusion through simple daily routines in their teacher professional development, and we use the Kalimani app. So this means that deaf learners are no longer pulled out or taught separately. They can follow the same lesson at an agreed pace with the full access to instruction. The model works inside government systems because it does not necessarily require specialist teachers, interpreters, or parallel programs. It is embedded within the learning structures, making it easy for our ministries to adopt, adapt, and scale. So like I mentioned, we are piloting beyond Tanzania in Kenya, having secured partnerships with regional innovators like the Action Foundation Kenya. And we are currently adapting it into Kenyan Sign Language to support foundational numeracy for learners in the Kajiado County. So with coaching, WhatsApp peer learning circles, and Kalimani-supported routines in classrooms, this is complemented by assessment-informed instruction through the app. I just got the clicker. So we are observing and tracking changes in everyday teacher practice, learning participation in numeracy, classroom instruction, along detailed feasibility and cost data. This is giving our ministries packaged evidence that they can use for policy and practice on how to cater to the needs of deaf learners. Because our model is digital, curriculum-aligned, and low-cost, it is designed for government adoption and cross-country replication. Our vision is simple: to embed sign language learning into the national education systems affordably, sustainably, and at scale. And we're hoping to partner with more governments across sub-Saharan Africa for integration. We want to work with catalytic funders to accelerate our localization work, and AI innovators, a few of which I met a few days ago, to advance our avatar, haptics, and language modeling so that together we can build inclusive learning and infrastructure at scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure you have even inspired many audience here. And please, always book an appointment. Nancy is with us here today and tomorrow. So look at your schedules at an appropriate time, see how you can liaise with her. Next, brochure.
Hello. Is this... Awesome. So my name is Drusha. I am representing Haptics today. There we go. My deaf professor mentioned that her friend passed away in a house fire because they couldn't hear a fire alarm. That was completely preventable. All the beeps, bops, and boops that we hear every day give us auditory cues to navigate this hearing world, but not everybody can hear the same. Right now, deaf people rely on flashing appliances or IoT devices that can buy online, or simply on each other to, hey, something's going around. So, hey, my baby's crying, fire alarm, whatever sounds. But accessibility for deaf people is not enough and definitely not fair. That's why we built Haptics. Haptics is a mobile app that listens to sounds, and the users can select what they want to be alerted by day to day. So they're like, hey, let me know when fire alarm, door knock, baby crying, whatever sounds go off, and the phone alerts with a flash, vibration, and a notification on the phone to make sure they never miss an important alert again. And you can connect that to Apple Watches to receive those alerts elsewhere. So the phone listens wherever and receives alerts right where you are. But we realized it's not just sound accessibility with what are the beeps and bops going on, it's also two-way communication. So let's say a deaf person goes to a coffee shop, ordering coffee. It's some transcription app back and forth, or pen and paper back and forth. So we added the text tab. Now, deaf people can stop flipping their phone back and forth and have a fluid two-way. So send a text, it shows that message flip side, and it speaks it out loud. And when the person across, the hearing person is speaking with, I can have that live transcription without going back and forth. And we want to have fluid conversations all around. And now is the time. DEI is becoming more of a priority in governments across the world. Waiting costs lives. My deaf professor, that was a tragic story that happened years ago. And we hear things like deaf people missing the fire truck going by on a road a second too late, or a smoke detector that wasn't detected on time to change the battery. And we're in the middle of the AI boom. All the best sound detection, the smartest tools are to our use right now, and we want to make the most of it. We have 3,400 users on Apple and about 250 testing it on Play Store. It doesn't look the best, doesn't look as good as App Store, but we're getting there. And all the emergency sounds will always be free. The convenience sound day-to-day will be $5 a month behind a paywall. And so far, we've raised awareness together in America, wanting to collaborate outside of America through vendor stands or running pilot programs in deaf schools. So we have like 600 students and teachers download at the same time. And hey, try it out. How does your day improve with being more aware of your spatial surroundings? And collaborating with deaf organizations with awareness, partnerships, helping with sponsorship. Across the board, America has been adopting Haptic, but we want to expand to other countries. And we have a rule in Haptic: never build anything that the deaf customer doesn't want. So we've been asked, hey, make it a widget. We want this to be a gift. We want Apple Watch to be integrated. So every piece of feedback, every sound that exists on the app has been direct feedback from about 300 deaf and hard of hearing people trying it out day to day. And moving forward, our top 3 goals are fundraising to help with talent, awareness, and integration. Right now, it's just me and my co-founder, tech guy. I'm fluent in sign language. We're going back and forth trying to get the word out there. But we do need deaf sales interns, marketing interns to get Haptics shared in different languages, different sign languages, and enter more social media markets, make viral videos, example videos, and work with collaborators. But also integration. We want to make sure it's listening on the phone, but also alerting on vibrating devices, bracelets, listening through cochlear implants. That's our next integration with tech. And we want to make sure deaf and hard of hearing people are safe, more independent, and spatially aware of their surroundings to make sure they never miss an important alert again. Thank you.
A big hand clap to Roshu. Can we give an applause in sign language? Good. Thank you very much for sharing. Honestly, on a daily basis in our lives as deaf people, we need those alerts. From when we wake up to when you go back to bed, alerts are very important, a challenge that deaf people are facing. So probably you are contributing a lot to the challenges we are facing so that we can live in a community with just like other people. So, next, we invite Alex. Alex also has another interesting innovation. Just share with us, Alex, please. And from that, we shall try to even relate to other. Remember, Nancy and other colleagues have presented. And by the time we shall leave this room, I'm pretty sure our bag will be full of information to think through. And by the way, alerts or alarms do not help deaf people alone. These designs for deaf people can also benefit others who are not deaf. Some of us, we are hearing, but when we go to bed, we go into deep sleep and we even forget what might be happening. The following day, you might be having an appointment for a meeting somewhere. The alerts or the alarm can even make you wake up. So, Nancy, and everybody, thank you for these innovations. May I give the mic to Alex also to share with us what innovation, what do you have in store for us? Alex, please.
Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me okay? Just checking. Good. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm Chief Technology Officer for a company called Synapse. And I think earlier on in the initial speech, the question was, how is Synapse different from every other app? And we're not an app. What we are is we are the translation engine that allows other people to make their apps more accessible. So with my fellow panelists here, to take Haptic, for instance, we could integrate Synapse into Haptic to make it truly accessible for the deaf community. And that's where Synapse is slightly different. So what we've built and what I'll show throughout the presentation today is how we've partnered with the deaf community to build an AI-enabled translation engine that is truly scalable, affordable, and means that accessibility does not have to be a second thought for people now. It should be a primary concern added to every product going. So just a little bit about us. We're Synapse. We're a UK-based company, and we're a mixture of deaf researchers, engineers, and interpreters, and we've built a cutting-edge AI intelligence. And this is Ray. Ray is one of 4, but she was our first AI, and she's based off our head of engineering, Rachel, and she's completely artificial, photorealistic signer. And she is deployed throughout the world, in America, in the UK, soon to be in Germany, in airports, train stations, on video streaming apps to make life more accessible for everybody. So the problem we started off trying to solve is, as I'm sure you all know, there are 70 million people globally who are classed as deaf. 1 million of those use ASL and BSL as their native language. It should not be an afterthought to support sign language now. It's a native language. And we've seen companies who embrace disability inclusion see a 30% increase. So we're a B2B company. It's profitable for companies. It's profitable for human beings. Everybody wins. And from that, we created the world's first AI sign language software. I love some quotes that we got. It's like an interpreter in my pocket. It's magic. Just to clarify, we are not replacing human beings here, but what we are adding is a gap where human beings either aren't available, or unfortunately, some organizations can't afford interpreters. We're offering a solution where they can still offer sign language translation in those circumstances. So how does it work? We take text, whether it be English, British English, American English, German, any language, and we turn it into sign language grammar, and then we turn that into video. And we do this with 2 products. We have Sign Studio, which you can go and log on today. It's free to make an account. You can upload any file, be it a Word document, PowerPoint presentation, photo, PDF, video, and you can get it translated into sign language. This is great. Why should we be sharing videos, advertising videos? We shouldn't be sharing safety announcements without sign language now. It's available, it's cheap, it's quick, it's easy. We offer AI with humans, quality controlling it, and human translations, all within a 1-week turnaround. And we offer SignStream. And SignStream is really cutting edge. It's real-time BSL translation. A great example of this is I recently partnered with Heathrow Airport in the UK. And as I'm sure many people in this room know, airports are an incredibly stressful environment. They are busy, they are loud, there's lots going on, flights change at an instant, flights get cancelled at an instant. With British Airways and Heathrow, we translated 15,000 flight announcements into BSL in real time for thousands of passengers, completely revolutionizing that flight experience. We got really good feedback from that, and we're expanding that to Cincinnati Airport, JFK, hopefully further into Heathrow Airport, and other transport networks. So we're taking a really stressful environment, a really complicated environment, and making sure it's accessible, and it should be accessible. So where are we going from next? We've now launched another signer called Mars. He's a BSL signer based off one of our employees, Marcus. We have 2 more coming in the future called Theo and Olivia. In March, you'll be able to use our products for ASL. And I'm super happy to announce we've just partnered with an organization called GNL Streamhus in Germany to offer DGS translation for majority of German broadcast network translations as well. And we hope to expand into the wider kind of transport market on the European continent as well. This is technology that is here today. It's hopefully going to empower other people to build really accessible products. And yeah, accessibility doesn't need to be an afterthought. It's here now, and yeah, excited chatting to you all about it. Thank you.
An applause, a big handy clap in sign language to Alex. Alex, thank you very much. Very nice to hear. You know, I have a problem. It's provided in BSL, ASL, it is American, and I'm wondering when will it be in Ugandan Sign Language?
It's all based off customer demand, so I'll put you on the list. No.
Okay. That can be another opportunity as a chair of the session to lobby for my country also, especially in Africa, if it can be embraced in Ugandan Sign Language, and then it can be rolled out, even to my neighbor.
Consider it, I'll do it for you, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation, and so interesting. And next, we have Nora. And we are neighboring countries from Uganda, but of course, our first meeting is here in Vienna. I want to hear from my neighbor, what are you doing for deaf people? So that I can even cross the border from my country to your country. Nora, please, the mic is yours.
Thank you for that. For the past few years, me and my team in Kenya have been moving from school to school across Africa, across the global south, across various countries everywhere, training young students on science, tech, engineering, and math. But on a number of these sessions, we happened to encounter some kids who could not hear and some could not speak. So what we had to do for the subsequent sessions was remove our phones, as small as they were at that time, we were in our first year, pull out images of what we were trying to explain and the corresponding words, and teach using that. So you can imagine, what was meant to be a 1-hour session was over 7 hours of frustration. Hello, my name is Nora. Essentially, I'd be doing that in sign language. However, at Zero Bionic, we build advanced robotic exoskeletons, such as what you can see there, that translate speech to sign. So as you're speaking, you have a live humanoid robot next to you that is translating the content that you're trying to speak in sign language. Now, essentially, our main focus is on STEM-related courses. So our robotic exoskeletons have a screen embedded on their chest. So you as the trainer, as you're speaking, whatever you're speaking is being directly translated into sign language. And as the student is signing, whatever they're signing is being directly channeled into speech. So it's more of a two-way communication, and there's that feedback loop where you can ask questions and get responses. We're essentially trying to make this technology as accessible as possible. Now you may ask, in most African schools, phones are not allowed. So you'd find that you can't have a tablet, you can't have a phone, and you can't have a computer, not unless it's a computer lesson. But then having one single robot, it can serve over 5,000 or even over 10,000 students at one given point in time. So with this, we're able to serve masses to scale at one given point in time. Now, you'll realize that only 6% of deaf students are enrolled in science, tech, engineering, or math. But less than 1% are able to get into these careers. So we realize that there's a lot of career stigma, seclusion in these spaces, and there's no STEM sign vocabulary. And that's where we came in. So we build these robotic exoskeletons using recycled plastics that reduce the cost by over 60%, making it affordable for people who can't essentially afford a humanoid robot that goes for roughly 1 million or 2 million. And essentially, the robots are coming. So if they're going to be in our schools, our hospitals, our classrooms, we need to make sure that they are built with access, they're built with dignity, such that everyone can get access to them in an equal manner. So essentially, our product is divided into a 3-tier basis, consisting of the selling or the leasing of the robotic exoskeleton. Then we also have the learning platform that essentially works like DSTV. So think of it like buying a decoder. So you'd have to have the software where you have either the basic, the advanced, or the premium. So you pay for it to power up your robotic exoskeletons, but essentially our main focus is in classrooms where we teach these complex related concepts. Let me just give you something quick if time allows. Imagine a chemistry classroom where you'd have to explain how chlorine and methane have to be reacted. So imagine explaining that in sign language. It's very complex, and that is why we bring these robots to classrooms where they can iteratively learn and improve over time. So with that, we are working with various organizations such as NVIDIA, UNDP, KPMG, just to mention a few that are helping us in our movement from school to school as we train these young students in STEM-related courses. We are working with over 15,000 hearing impaired professionals across Kenya, Rwanda, Switzerland, and one airline. That is the Emirates airline. I don't know if any of you have used Emirates to come here for the conference. However, so right now we're just looking forward towards getting the word out there that we are building for these hearing impaired students. And we are looking forward to just getting some collaborations in just these countries and just getting a footing into different countries across the world, not only in Africa, but in just different parts of the world. So at the moment, we are building the largest African sign language data set because we did realize that there is currently no standardized African sign language data set. So as we are building this, we believe that we are building with them, we are building for them, and with your help, we can enable so many deaf students to get access to such a technology that is coming soon. So with that, thank you so much.
Once again, an applause to Nora. Another sign you can learn is I would say, thank you. Copy, thank you. Thank you, the panelists. Thank you, panelists. Can you sign? I just want to see signing the room. Thank you, our panelists. That's so good. Thank you, our panelists. Honestly, we have heard from your different presentations, different innovations, and I'm pretty sure in the room you are much excited. Thank you very much, our presenters. You made even my work very easy. You are doing it in time so that you can create more space for questions from the room. But before you come in, I would love to look at the 4 ideas. Okay? And of course, you may not be knowing this. These are even winners of the award in the Zero Project this year. We need to congratulate you for your innovations. So they are talking from lived experience on what is working. A quick recap on each. In just a few seconds, just inform us. What could be your problem you are trying to solve? Just start from Nancy.
Well, it's twofold. We are supporting deaf learners from the foundation learning stage, but we are enabling teachers who are not necessarily special needs teachers to be able to engage with sign language to support these learners from a foundation learning stage. Using the Kalimani app, of course.
Number 1, flashing appliances, alert devices are super expensive, and each sound is specific for one device. So we want alerts that move with you. Whatever space a deaf person walks into becomes accessible, not the building is accessible or inaccessible for me. And 2, fluid conversations. Before sign language is in everybody's pockets, it's going to take some time to get there. And there's not always going to be an interpreter or situation where you need a full back and forth. So always have something to have quick conversations in your pocket.
Synapse, our mission is to translate the entire world's digital content into sign language. The problem we're trying to solve is, one, to power sign language in everyone's pocket, but really to change the conversation from, it doesn't matter, we provide captions. Captions aren't enough. We want to make it affordable and easy for everyone to have sign language available all the time.
For us, our goal is to see deaf doctors, deaf engineers, and deaf pilots, just to simply put it.
Okay. Deaf pilots, deaf doctors. Probably I would be the first person to board that pilot, being managed by a deaf pilot. Thank you very much. A second quick question to you. Because we always talk about monthly stipends or pay. You know, I'm coming from Africa, like Uganda, where I have deaf people living in the rural areas encountering numerous challenges. They're earning less than even $1 per month. They don't have money. So they have those challenges. That aside, this is leading to my question to you. What is the hardest implementation restrictions you foresee? May I start from Nora, going the other side?
So for us, initially, we were facing the same issue, actually, where we were building our humanoid robots using metal, so it was a bit costly, and that's why we now moved to using recycled plastics. That reduced our manufacturing cost by over 60%, and we made it affordable to people who could not essentially afford something that was very, very expensive. So with that, we're able to just give access to most schools, regardless of the location or regardless of where they are.
I think the hardest part for us has been we are primarily an API. We're a very technical solution. We realize that not every organization is able to implement a technical solution. Some people just want a nice, simple offer. So we're expanding that. So we're now going to be integrating Synapse with things like Google Meet, Teams, Zoom, Cisco going forwards, and making it easier for everybody to access Synapse in the future, even if you aren't technical, whilst keeping it available for people who are technical and want to create a custom experience.
Mm-hmm. We don't use Wi-Fi. So right now it runs completely locally. So accuracy, working on making sure the alerts are the most helpful they can be, and also making sure all devices are compatible, not just iOS right now, iPads, Android devices specifically in different versions. We want to make sure it is available on all kinds of devices at the highest accuracy possible.
So, Ambrose, our contexts are very similar, and one of the things that keeps us awake at night is how to reach the deaf learners who need us the most in the most difficult of contexts, low cost, and in rural areas. And that is why we are optimizing our app to be zero rated by telecom companies, so it's available offline. But additionally, why we really want to work with governments, because they are the biggest scale in education, so that our app is available to all teachers in even the most rural and hard-to-reach areas in the country, that a teacher is able to access the app offline through a low-cost device, so to speak.
Yes, in related to that, there's a question to Nancy. How would you support mainstream teachers to accelerate inclusion without external support?
Well, first of all, we currently have a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Education in our country. So we are integrating this sort of coaching within in-service teacher training. So we are one of a recognized partner in offering this in-service teacher training support. But also with teacher training colleges. We are currently striving to work with all of them in our country to be able to have this as an offering within the curriculum so that they are able to bring it to the classroom once they are in service. So we're working with the ones that are already in classrooms and the ones that are training to be in classrooms as well.
Thank you. Yeah, sustainability is very important. I like the way you also integrate sustainability in your products. Sustain and also maintenance, very important. Who bears the cost is also another issue that comes up. Because remember, this is a big issue for every person with disabilities everywhere. Yes, we share. Very interesting. When you talk about the alert system, how do you handle privacy and even accuracy for such sensitive sound environment?
With privacy, the app runs completely locally. So you control when it listens, and if you don't want it to listen, you X out of the app, and it just stops listening. And we don't store data at all. It listens when the phone is on, when the phone is off, completely stops listening. So we don't want to listen in on your conversations. We just need to know what sound it is and let you know on the spot. With accuracy, how models work, hey, here's 100 microwaves, here's a bunch of beep, beep, beeps. The 101st one you listen to, let us know. But now it's, instead of teaching it 100, teach it 1,000, 10,000. So making sure it listens to more sounds to increase accuracy. But also, where is the sound source coming from? Right now, only the phone listens. So we're wanting it to, it's Bluetooth compatible. So you can connect multiple mics and leave them far away. So your phone picks up from further, but still gives you alerts where you need. We're also teaching it to train differently. So it can listen to 300 sounds, but control only 10 to make sure it's like hyper listening to them. Also setting a baseline. So when the phone is listening, hey, for 10 seconds, it's just listening to what are the environments like, and then if there's a change, there's a sound detected, it lets you know. So small things that we're changing and how it listens, where it listens, how far it can, and making sure you're safe with everything deleted, only using the information that we need.
Thank you. To hear about, because I was a little bit worried about my privacy. At least I'm at ease.
We don't want to know, don't worry.
Alex, I wonder how you validate the signing quality and also looking at some risks in emergency. Also look at the safety alerts.
Yeah, we start with safety. It was one of the first things we did for the train network in the United Kingdom. When we launched our first version of our models was how do we do safety announcements for there's a fire at the train station, or there is an incident and everyone has to evacuate. It's something that's always been at the core of what we do at Synapse. How do we validate our models? We do it through 3 steps, really. The first is we have an in-house team of deaf individuals. 50% of our company is deaf. We have an advisory board of senior influential deaf figures throughout the UK, so members of the Royal Academy of the Deaf sit on our board. They monitor us and they feedback on how our models are doing for accuracy and for quality as well. We also go one step further, so we do Synapse on the road, which is where we take our models and our products around the United Kingdom, around the United States, and soon to be around Europe. And we go to deaf schools and deaf groups, and we ask for honest feedback. And some of the feedback is honest, and it's great. And we take that all back and we improve it. We make changes every week to our models based off feedback that we get. It's always learning, it's always improving. I don't think it will ever be finished. I think we haven't even tackled the skim of regional dialects and different signs. I mean, in BSL, there's 25 different signs for the color purple. We don't do that, but we should be able to do that. We need to improve role shift and placements. These are all things we know we're doing based off feedback from the community. So yeah, always looking for feedback.
Thank you, Alex. Your response is related to Nora's presentation. When you were sharing how you adapt to the local signing variations and also keep STEM content being current.
Yeah, just as Alex mentioned, there are very, very different ways of signing, depending on the country you're in, the region you're in, so there are just different variations. And at the moment, especially in Africa, that's why we decided we are going to build something that is standardized. Unlike ASL or BSL, there is no African Sign Language data set. So at the moment, we have over 90 billion parameters that have directly impacted over 510,000 students. So with that number, it's able to iteratively help us build on top of that, get feedback, and just continue building on that. So the accuracy that we currently have of 92%, we are hoping to kind of improve that. The more people that we impact, or the more people that we have in our system that are helping us just kind of build on that, depending on the region they're in, that is. So in terms of offline content, we've built a 2G, 3G wireless network that channels data directly from where the trainer is remotely to where the student is. For our platform, the trainer doesn't necessarily have to be in the same classroom with the robot, so you can be in different places and the data is just channeled directly via that 2G network.
Wonderful, thank you very much. So interesting listening from Alex and others. The involvement of deaf people is very key. When you are developing those products, digital issue for the deaf, they need to actively be involved from the start up to the end. Because deaf are native sign language users. They know what they want when you engage with them. And Alex, when you said some board of directors, that's so good. How structured is it to make sure that deaf people is not an afterthought, but are active member, active players in those innovations that concerns them? And with that, let me open for some questions, the audience. Like 4 questions, please.
My name is Gary Wagner, disaster information expert, Vienna. 2 questions to Trucia and 1 to Alex. Firstly, when disaster strikes, and you have 2 seconds before you get killed, whatever, okay? Then you have to know exactly where the signal comes from, where the person is standing shouting to you or whistling to you. Do you display on the mobile phone exactly via an index or needle where the sound comes from?
Not at the moment, in 2 weeks.
Okay. And secondly, in the US, minimum 3 deaf people not wearing a blue scarf were killed by the police from the back and shot down because they did not realize that the police is shouting to them. Do you offer a service in that case that it recognizes, okay, a policeman is shouting to you from the back?
That's our goal with the directionality, knowing where it comes from. We're more, hey, there's an alert going on, that first step. The second step of where and how, like next steps to react, we're still working on that. But that is we want to stay an informational app, not like this is the truth, this is it, this is the next step to do, because sound is very subjective, right? So it's going on, we'll tell you which direction, and we want to put that onus back on deaf people of what to do next.
Another question to Alex. If a deaf passenger is seated in an airplane, disaster strikes, the stewardess shouts praise and please exit via the wings. Is this information being then translated on a mobile phone so that deaf people can read it?
It can be. We are the engine that enables that functionality. So we recently did a pilot with Iberia Airlines in Spain, where we had safety announcements and informational announcements in the screens on the back of seats for long-haul flights. That technology is our same technology as you'd see in the airports. Iberia chose to implement it in the planes. We educate the companies we work with, because we are ultimately a B2B to C customer on what we think is beneficial. So there is an education piece there. But yes, there is nothing to say that our technology couldn't be used with either, on the screens in the back of seats, on an app, anywhere. It's entirely flexible.
Thank you for those questions. Like between Kampala and Vienna, I counted almost 12 announcements on the screen. But I even didn't know what they are talking about. They just put announcement in progress on the screen. And I missed what the announcements were about. Many times, I missed almost 11 announcements. And all of them could be maybe informing up how to prepare for disaster. Okay? So problems are there. Therefore, it's another thing to think about, such challenges. Any other question? Yes.
Hi, my name is Ian Brown from Salzburg Global. I have a question to Nancy. I really enjoyed, in particular, the element of your presentation that talked about helping those who are not otherwise specialists and allowing them to build their capacity to assist in education. I was curious, though, do you foresee either a similar application or a similar process to yours that could be used, for instance, by parents or caregivers at an even earlier stage of education, for, say, early childhood education?
Yes, absolutely. And so that is our goal in moving forward. We are already, as we speak, working with parents, because oftentimes the data that we have is showing that a lot of deaf children are born to hearing parents. And we hope that this approach that we have can also really assist build parents' capacity in terms of sign language, but also across other forms of disability, to be able to allow all of us to engage with the struggles that are being faced by children and various other people in our communities. One of the other interesting things that we are finding in kind of piloting this in mainstream classrooms is that yes, it's assisting heavily in academic improvement, but also in the social setting. So we are finding that students are now, hearing students are wanting to learn sign language to make friends with the kids who cannot hear. So it's been a fantastic tool in kind of creating more social cohesion in the school environment. And we hope that this level of mainstreaming can be adopted across the board.
Right. Thank you very, very much. I know there are so many questions in the room, but better note those questions. Feel free to reach out to our panelists during breaks and have a deeper interaction. This is very interesting, but our time is not on our side. Thank you very much, team. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for enjoying. A big, big, big hand clap to our team, panelists in sign language. Also, thank yourself for being here. Can you read sign language? Appreciating yourself. Sign it, sign it, sign it. Enjoy the rest of the day.